So X-Men, Extreme X-Men. How you feeling? How you feeling right now before we get into the nitty-gritty?
I feel bad for some people if this is their first X-Men comic.
Yes, this is my formal public apology right here, right now, for choosing Extreme X-Men and inviting you all to read it because this week was rough. This week was rough. We're going to get into it, but I am very sorry. Welcome to the Caffeinated Comic Club, a weekly gathering for comic readers who also have opinions about, well, everything.
Each month we're going to break down a full run, react to news in the comic world, gab about our weekly pools, and also sprinkle in our takes on other pop culture and media.
So pour yourself a cup, pull up a chair, and tell us, what are you sipping on?
Welcome back to the Caffeinated Comic Club. Air, what are you sipping on?
Water today. I'm being healthy. In reality, I did drink 2 Diet Mountain Dews earlier today, and I don't have any caffeine here at the house. And I was like, I probably shouldn't go buy more caffeine when I'm already hopped up on the caffeine. So I'm drinking a big ass water. I have a gigantic head, and this cup is as big as my head. So just know that it's a lot of water. What are you sipping on?
That's good though. Staying hydrated. You probably are more hydrated than me. So I have a Mr. Pibb Zero sugar. And then I also have an Alani Black Cherry, or Cherry Bomb. And those are my drinks today.
I did not know that there was a Mr. Pibb Zero.
Yeah. I don't drink any sodas that have sugar in them. So
I need to find Mr. Pibb Zero because I feel like that would change my life because I do love a spicy cherry. I'm not a cherry bitch
it's really
like
good.
you are, but I could be a spicy cherry bitch.
Cherry bitch. Honestly, though, I found, like we discussed, remember, I don't like the Coke Zero cherries. However, the vanilla Coke Zero, that shit's good. That shit's really good.
I don't know if I've had the vanilla Coke Zero. Maybe. I feel like I know I've had vanilla Coke and hated it, but I don't know about vanilla Coke Zero.
That's fair. I don't like this.
You're Alani? The cherry? Yeah.
I don't know.
I liked it the first time.
I drank too much of it. Yeah, I did too, and then I bought a whole bunch of it, and now I'm like,
Have you found the lime slush, Alani, yet? The lime slush?
I don't think so. The last time I tried an Alani I'd never had before, it was, what is it, like a snow cone flavor? Like a Hawaiian snow cone flavor, and I was like,
no. Yeah.
Not for me either.
Not for me either. So. The lime slush is the newest one. I think it's going to be a permanent. I don't think it's a seasonal, but it is the best Alani. And there's no aftertaste like there usually are with Alanis. And it goes really well with like a shot of tequila if you want to have a little, like a vodka or Red Bull, if you want like a little Marg vibe. But also it's really good with gin. Okay. I've had it with both now. It is amazing.
Okay.
Listen, if you can't find it, I'll mail it to you. If you can't find it, I'll mail you some.
Okay.
They're so good. So a little housekeeping. If this is your first time here, I don't know why it would be, but if it is, welcome. We do recap the books that we read very, very spoilery. Sometimes more detailed than others. I will say this week is going to be less detailed, and you will see why. But if you don't want to know all of the spoilers, stop right now, but please don't. Just stay. Let us spoil you. I'm turning my sound off on my phone because I just got a text message. Sorry, everyone.
You might want us to spoil this for you, by the way.
Yeah, you might.
Might not want to read it. No offense.
Because we are reading Extreme X-Men this month for my birthday. It is by Chris Claremont and Salvador Larroca. Chris Claremont wrote the most famous X-Men run of all time. The original Uncanny run with Dark Phoenix and all kinds of amazing storylines. This was his story that he wrote in 2001 during the big modern reboot, and as a child, I was just enraptured by these mutants and everything about this. As a grown-ass man, I'm having a lot of problems. And I recommended this so confidently, and yeah, I accept full responsibility for the next month of pain that we all might endure, because if the rest of the book is anything like these first 9 issues, y'all are not going to trust me, and I'm going to have to work for it. But it's okay. I'll get you back. I'll get you back in my good graces.
Yeah.
Okay, so we read, I said these first 9 issues. We read 13 issues. Technically, Marsh and I read 15 issues because on my reading guide that I posted, I left out two things for the general public. But we read an issue of Uncanny X-Men 389, and then X-Men 109, which served as a little prequel to Extreme X-Men. But I'm not going to go into detail about what that's all about, because we could have just read Extreme X-Men #1. To be honest with you, all those issues did was set up our story and cement the team and why the team is going to be together. It also gave us a little bit of history about Destiny's Diaries, which is a big, huge part of Extreme X-Men, and we will get into that in just a little bit. Those two issues, if you want to go back and read how they became the Extreme X-Men, you can. It's a cute little Christmas issue. One of the issues is very Charles Xavier heavy, so I would just say stay away forever, because no one needs that bald bitch in their life. Anyway.
Especially after some of these issues from Extreme X-Men, like, listen, I didn't like him in the first place, but, like, what he did to Sage, listen.
I will say, this is the one great thing about this, is that if people are reading this for the first time and they have great opinions about Charles Xavier, if they still have great opinions about Charles Xavier, you're not in my circle. You're not my friend. We can't be friends, because how could you support that man after reading this book? Period. And we'll get into it. But you're so
I mean,
right.
how to be fair though, how can you like Charles Xavier if you've read any, like Silver Age X-Men, You can't. He's a bad dude. Anyway, I don't like him. I like him.
Let's take it back to X-Men #1 from the 60s, where that bald ass 40, 50 something, 60-year-old man, I don't know how old Charles Xavier is, he's like bringing in 15-year-old Jean Grey to the group, and in his internal monologue, he's like, why do I want to kiss her? Why am I in love with this young woman that I can never be with? We didn't need to fucking know that, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. We didn't need to know. We did not need to know. The way that he has been modernized in the films and the TV show, like as this incredible, great bald man, no. Shame on you, Charles Xavier.
Listen, props to Fox and Patrick Stewart for making Charles Xavier likable, because I liked him in the films. I liked him a lot. And then I went and read some books and I was like, he doesn't deserve rights. That's right. That's what I decided.
No, he does not deserve rights. He absolutely does not deserve rights. And you are so correct about that. So the first arc that we read is Extreme X-Men 1-4. And I have a lot of notes. Okay, so buckle up. Here we go. The Extreme X-Men, we meet them in Valencia, Spain. To give you a little backstory, I guess I should tell you what all of the mutant powers are. If you did read this, you should know what their mutant powers are, because in every single issue, Chris Claremont told us what their powers are. But for those of you who are just listening for the gossip, I'll let you know. We have Storm. Pretty self-explanatory. She can control the weather. We have Beast. He's blue and furry and strong, like a beast. We have Rogue, who can absorb powers and use them. Right now, though, she can't really control those powers, and all the powers that she has taken in the past are coming back. So, like, right now, she can have optic blast, like Cyclops. That's why she's wearing these very 2000s red sunglasses. She has bone claws, like Wolverine. That's our Rogue for today. We have Psylocke, who is Betsy Braddock in the body of a Japanese woman. She has taken over her body, and she has psychic powers, and she can make like swords, purple swords with her mind. We have Thunderbird 3, Neil Shah, who can use the powers of the sun to create blast and like shoot little laser beams out of his fingertips. We have Bishop, who can absorb powers and then shoot them back at people. And then we have Sage, aka Tessa, who used to work for Sebastian Shaw, the leader of the Hellfire Club, aka she's been an enemy of the X-Men for a while, so people don't really trust her, but we'll get into that later. So we meet our X-Men in Valencia, Spain, where they are to try to find Destiny's Diaries. Destiny is this dead precog mutant who was married to Mystique and is the mother of Rogue, one of the mothers of Rogue. Rogue is also Mystique's daughter as well. And her mutant power is she could see into the future at all times. When she first developed her powers, all she saw was the future. And so she spent the next year filling up these journals with her visions all day, all night, until she literally went blind. So these 13 books are spread across the world, and they hold the key to the future of humanity and mutant kind. So the X-Men, Storm really is like, we need to go get these books. Charles has a few of them hidden in the X-Mansion, and this Extreme X-Men team have one of the 13 volumes. So they're like, we need to go get them. And we don't really trust Charles, so we're going to get away from them and go find them. So this has led them to Spain, where they're having an idyllic morning. Rogue's like perched on a rooftop looking at the view. Storm and Beast are having this like very beautiful breakfast in like silk robes. Psylocke and Thunderbird are having a morning drive. Bishop's getting a coffee. I don't really know where Sage is.
Yeah.
Where's Sage?
She's just vibing. I think she's vibing. I think she's supposed to have breakfast with Beast and Storm, I think. I think she's in the hotel room somewhere.
She's like being hot looking at herself in the mirror. I'm pretty sure is what is happening.
The book didn't tell us, y'all. We're just trying to figure out where she was.
So
also,
yeah,
real quick, is so as someone I've read some X-Men, right? But I haven't read a lot. Is Rogue actually the daughter of Mystique and Destiny, or like was she like the adopted daughter of Rogue and Destiny?
I'm gonna say adopted. There could be something somewhere in these books where one of them birthed her. But if there are, I haven't read it yet. But as of now, they raised her as their own. So everybody's having this perfect Spanish morning, and then suddenly, boom, they're all attacked at one time. Beast and Storm are like shot down with some type of like energy blast. It says "fuda fuda fuda" on the page. That's apparently the sound a gun makes. Not click 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 in the X-Men world. It's "fuda fuda fuda." Thunderbird and Psylocke's car explodes. Bishop gets hit in the middle of his coffee. Rogue's getting blasted in the sky. She tries to fly away. She holds her own in this big old fight, but she eventually does get her ass shot into the sea. Everybody is taken except for Sage and Rogue, who is at the bottom of the ocean. Sage had she intercepted the signal or whatever and was managed to get away from it all.
Sage is being a badass.
She is.
Sage does.
They said, look at her butt. We'll show you who she is mid-battle. Here's her giant ass. Listen. Also, you can tell from 2000s. The go. It would not be 2000s if there wasn't some giant ass somewhere. You can also tell from the get-go that Sage is Claremont's favorite character in this run. She gets the most development out of everyone over everything that we've read. So know that she is going to be a key player in all of this.
Also, real quick. Oh, sorry. I don't mean to interrupt your overview, but I do have a problem with LaRocca's art. Okay.
Yes.
His interiors for me are fine, but why is there no shading? There's no like depth to the art. There's no really much inking. Like it's just like drawn and colored, and that's it. It annoys me. Is all I have to say about it. I am annoyed.
I will say a lot of his interior work as well feels very unfinished, sketch-wise too. Like there's a shot where there's a kid who's wearing a Metallica t-shirt and he starts the word Metallica in the center of the t-shirt and it kind of just goes off of the shirt.
You know what's
it doesn't
funny?
Make a lot of sense.
You told me to look for that and listen, I read them, but sometimes my eyes glazed over and I was thinking about other things and then all of a sudden the book was ended and I was like, oh, we're done.
Honestly, though, how could your eyes not glaze over? Because especially in these first 4 issues, it is blocks and blocks and blocks of Claremont monologue, exposition. Literally.
Guys, look at this one. Look at this one. That's just one panel. Look at all those words. I like words, but holy God. That's a lot of words.
13 text bubbles, each with a paragraph in them.
Anyway.
On one panel. Yeah, no, it is a lot. During this battle or whatever, after the battle, we do have a flashback scene of the X-Treme X-Men on a boat where we do get the history of Destiny's Diaries and explaining why they've cut off Charles and the other X-Men so that they can't stop them. Thunderbird's just kind of annoying the whole time. Brand new X-Men, scared of everything, asking a million questions for the audience, which we really don't need because it's basically 5 pages of them just repeating the same thing over and over and over again, and to establish that Tessa / Sage is the favorite. So know that they just are trying to get these Destiny Diaries books so that they don't fall into the wrong hands, because whoever has the future of the world in their hands can change it how they want. So that's why they're trying to get these books. At the end of the day, that's what they're trying to fucking do. Rogue does not want to do it because it ruined her mom's lives. It killed, Destiny got shot. Destiny's dead. It turned them into corrupt people, and she's afraid that the X-Men will become corrupt. So she's there with them, even though she doesn't want to find them, and Storm's like, no, we need to get them. We need to get them. Mostly because Storm's afraid that Charles Xavier is going to get them, which I love. I love that Storm has always been, since her creation, she has always been the one to question Charles Xavier. from the
Yes.
get-go.
Yes. And then you have Beast coming in who's like, well, we can let Charles handle it. And Storm is like, no, we cannot. And then Hank is like, yeah, we can. And I'm like, Hank, I hate you as much as I hate Charles. That's how I feel right now.
Yes.
You're annoying and I don't like you.
Hank McCoy is one of the worst X-Men characters ever made. Just an awful, awful, entitled, smart bitch. And I'll say it here. I'll say it here.
Such a blanket statement.
If you love that big furry blue bitch, you ain't read enough. You ain't read enough, okay? He's not who you see in X-Men animated series. He's not who you see in X-Men 97. He's not Kelsey Grammer. You should read a little bit more. Me being aggressive
Also, I have a
about
question.
Henry.
So Hank is smart, right? I haven't read a lot of Beast. This is the first time I've actually read Beast in a book that's not new age stuff. Because he's not in Claremont's X-Men. Anyway, so smart. If you had Hank, Reed, and Doom in a room, who would be the smartest person in the room? Would Hank even be close?
No.
I'll even throw Tony in there too. Would Tony be like what do you like? Is he smarter than Tony?
See, that's hard. That's hard because everything in my body is like, no, he's a dumb bitch. He is very, very smart. He's not Reed smart. He's not Dr. Doom smart, but he is the smartest one of the smartest X-Men. I think the thing about Hank is that Hank is book smart. He also acts a lot off of impulses because he is a beast. So he has a lot of animal impulses that he tends to follow, which I think is a part of why he's a piece of shit. So no, even with Tony there, I'd put him at number 4, fourth smartest.
Okay. I was just curious. Like I said, I don't know much about him except from, like I said, what I've read recently, and then X-Men the animated series, and X-Men First Class, and X-Men movies. So, like nothing. I know nothing about him.
Beast is very smart, but he's smart in a way that's like he gets a lot of joy out of telling you how smart he is. So I don't think he's that smart. Because I feel like Reed doesn't do that, you know? Beast will casually be like, well, Shakespeare said. Fuck off, Beast. Fuck off, Hank. No one cares about Shakespeare in this moment. People are dying, Kim. You know? Like, that's the energy. So yeah, back to the book. The team is captured. We cut to this oh god, okay. I guess we should talk about the villain. We do meet Vargas, big sexy tan man, shiny slick ponytail, kind of unsure of his intentions right now. I know that he wants Destiny's Diaries too. He hasn't really said why he wants them though, right? We don't really know his intention other than he just wants those books too.
Correct.
He also wants to make himself immediately known as a threat to the X-Men, so he shows up. But that's not who attacks the X-Men. So the X-Men are not actually kidnapped by Vargas, but we are made aware of Vargas and what he's doing. The X-Men are kidnapped by this man named Diego, who is the commander of Action Force in Valencia, Spain. He does have a boss, Maria Pilar Cortez, who doesn't really support the fact that he has kidnapped the X-Men, but she is really not stopping them. She's like, you can't hurt them, but she doesn't say release them. She just hangs out and kind of sees how it goes. They have kidnapped these X-Men and dropped them into this room type thing when it starts.
Well, and they're like taking bodily samples and stuff because they can be a threat. And I'm like, yes, they can be a threat, but they weren't a threat. Why are we just attacking people?
Yeah, they are made aware. So that is the thing. Vargas does tip them off that the X-Men are there. And so instead of just rolling up to them at breakfast and being like, hey, are you guys trying to do some shit here? We know you're heroes, but we're kind of scared of your mutant powers. They're like, nah, let's just fucking attack them with guns and kidnap them. And they take them back to their little evil villain lair. Even though they are the police, they have this big ass underground lair where they do make them their science project, and they're taking stuff. They got Storm. They've taken. Didn't they take her clothes off? Am I crazy?
Yeah, no, she was in a tube. They had her in a tube, and they were doing all these experiments on her. And then all of a sudden, she was no longer in the tube, and she was wearing her suit. Also, it's not the pacing, but the way that the breakneck speed of how we just shift from page to page, you brought up the boat scene or whatever. We were with Sage, and then all of a sudden we're at a memory or whatever, and nothing tells me we're at a memory. We're on a boat, and so I was like, what? And so that's how I felt about the Storm thing. She was in the tube. They were doing experiments on her in the tube, and then all of a sudden she had her X-Men suit on, and they were throwing her into a maze or something. And I was like, what is happening?
Exactly. One page, Storm's in a tube. They're explaining that they're like seeing if they're threats, and the next page, the X-Men are waking up together in this weird ass maze. No exit signs, basically just like corridors, bad vibes all around. They kind of talk a little bit, and then they're ambushed. The gang are the X-Men. So they quickly beat their assailants, which I thought was a really cool way to introduce everyone's powers into the game. I thought that was a really excellently drawn fight scene. But we do realize very quickly, I don't remember if it's Beast or Storm, but one of them is like, they're testing us so that they can learn from us and then eventually kill us. And yeah, you know. And when they make that realization,
it was probably Beast.
Probably it was Beast. And when they make that realization, the floor just gives out underneath them and they are falling. We do get to see Rogue falling into the icy depths. She might still be alive. Vargas is like looking at the ocean, waiting for her to come out on a bluff somewhere with two creepy blonde twins. And that's the end of the issue. So much happens and not really much happens at all in this first issue.
Yes, that is correct. That is 100% correct. I also think it took me, I'm not even joking, like 30 minutes to read the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I was joking, but I was not.
It was confusing, and it was literally like essays on each page of dialogue and backstory. Yes. Issue 2, Rogue comes out of that ocean. She does not know where she is, so she takes to the sky. But then we are immediately transferred back to a flashback. Very confusing, because she's out of the ocean, and then suddenly she's busting rocks on the road, screaming at Storm. And this is where we... Yes, exactly.
Yes, sorry. That was my whole yes. That's all I have to say about that, because like that...
period.
Well, she came out of the ocean. I was like, cool, she's out of the ocean. All of a sudden, we're on land with the rest of the team, and I'm like, wait a minute, the team are captured. Like, what is going on? And then I'm like, oh, it's a flashback. Like, why can't we have flashback in like a little part of the book somewhere where I can I know context clues, Gare. Okay, I know how to read, but like this is not well thought out or well written.
No, the flashbacks feel like Chris Claremont was like, oh, by the way, Salvador, here you go. I want to include a flashback scene, and there's no transition. It's so fucking confusing. So fucking confusing. So yeah, Rogue gets out of the ocean. We are flashback. She's breaking rocks. She's yelling at Storm, basically being like, this ruined my mom's lives. We should not go get the Destiny Diaries. Like, that's basically that whole fucking scene. She crashes out, uses her new Wolverine claws against Storm, who instantly shuts her down and then calms her. Kind of a beautiful scene, kind of a beautiful moment, because it cements Storm as the leader and shows how much she cares about Rogue and her fellow X-Men. But again, it's more just repeating what we already learned in the first issue, that they're trying to get the Destiny Diaries because Storm doesn't trust Xavier, and Rogue's like, no, it's ruining lives. You know, that's basically what this scene was. Back in the maze...
Is that your Louisiana accent?
No, and also the way I started that accent, and I was like, well, I chose a Southern accent. I am from the South, and honestly, Rogue probably sounds a lot like me, but I chose the mom from White Lotus, Parker Posey. Popper, no! That's the voice I chose for Rogue. I don't know why. It fell out of me. Sometimes you have to let the character take you where the character's going to take you, you know, as an actor.
Of course.
So
okay, back in
the maze, the captured X-Men are in a reservoir full of water. Some have these like breathing apparatus that are helping them, while others don't. So Storm creates like an air bubble out of static electricity around them to help them survive. More of the Spanish cops appear on underwater jet skis, didn't know that existed, and attack them. They get separated in the dark of the water.
You've never seen Thunderball? You never seen the James Bond movie Thunderball? They have little thingies that like...
No, I had no clue. This is new information for me. I was like, how's that work?
It's like a little propeller and they like hold it. Okay, sorry.
But okay, no, I have seen those, but these felt way more futuristic. They were like sitting on them.
I mean, it's like Halo then, the little banshees. I yes. Say hoping you played Halo. Okay.
I did play Halo 3 when I was a child with my straight cousins. I did play that.
Imagine a banshee, for anyone who's listening and hasn't read this, imagine a banshee from Halo. Okay, you're welcome. Continue.
But under the water and moving really fast. Psylocke and Beast managed to burst a hole somewhere in the reservoir, and are sucked out into this open area, while the rest of the group, aka Storm, Bishop, and Thunderbird, get sucked somewhere else into a hallway where, surprise, they are instantly attacked by more guards who have learned their powers and upgraded, just like Beast said they would in the last issue. Eventually, though, the X-Men still outsmart them and defeat them. Meanwhile, Rogue and Sage have found the building, and Rogue bursts through the roof into a room full of dead bodies, and she's like, the X-Men couldn't have done this. And suddenly our villain Vargas appears with his two blonde creepy twins, and he easily beats Rogue's ass. Rogue is so powerful. She has the power of Carol Danvers in her body at all times. She has invulnerable strength. She can shoot lasers from her eyes. She has Wolverine claws, and Vargas is just like, breaks her instantly, breaks her. So we know from that he is too fucking strong and kind of scary. Go ahead. I can see it in your eyes that you have something to say.
I do. So, like, my question throughout reading this, right, is like, we know Rogue is very powerful, right? She's super powerful, as you just said. But why does Claremont write her like a bitch? This whole time, these 13 issues that we've read, she can do nothing. Nothing. And she is so powerful, and I'm so annoyed. And she's such a whiny little bitch in this whole thing. And I think it's because, like, her powers are broken, but, like, I'm just like, what? This is not the Rogue that I've read? And I'm so confused because, like, I can't stand her, Gare. I cannot stand her in this book right now. And I love Rogue. Don't get me wrong. But, like, this is not it. Anyway, she gets her ass kicked by Vargas.
I am going to go ahead and say, I'm going to spoil something for everyone who's reading this who is a Rogue fan. I'm not going to spoil anything with a detail. I'm going to say, this is not a book for Rogue fans. There are things that we're going to go through with Rogue in this run that is going to make everybody so fucking mad. And I apologize.
So
I apologize
so
much. There's so many apologies in my body for all of you, including to myself. Because you're right. She is a whiny bitch in this, and she's really strong, and she can't do shit. She's got a lot of trauma, y'all.
Everybody has trauma, Gare. Everybody.
That's the truth.
All of the X-Men have trauma.
That is the truth.
Trauma. Everyone has trauma. It's not an excuse.
So you're right. You're right. Vargas beats her ass so quick, so she can't even whine about it here. She can't say nothing about it. She's on the ground, very sad and upset. As he bodies her, Beast and Psylocke roll up in the room. Psylocke takes care of his little twins pretty easily, and Beast starts fighting him only to be easily broken by this man. Like, I mean, turned into like a marionette puppet by this man. Like, he's just on the ground, almost dead. Like, literally almost dead. Psylocke has this, like... Psylocke then decides that she's going to fight him. She has this badass scene where she is like, I am Betsy Braddock. I am Psylocke. And you think that she's going to destroy him with her sword, but alas, he, in fact, stabs her through the stomach. And the final panel of this issue is he has positioned Beast. Beast's body is broken. He has, like, formed him like a human marionette, and he's holding Psylocke's body. Yes, and on the wall behind him in Psylocke's blood is the word Pronto. Psylocke is dead. Betsy Braddock in Kanon's body is dead.
Which, honestly, I was surprised that happened. I was actually so out of everything that I've read, right? I've never read anything with Psylocke or Betsy Braddock in it at all. But, like, I still kind of felt a little bit emotional about it. But then I also just, like, didn't expect it to happen at all. Like, I expected, like you said, her to beat the crap out of Vargas, and then all of a sudden, she didn't. And, yeah, that was crazy.
It was insane, and especially because Psylocke was a huge, huge fan favorite. From the Jim Lee redesign in the early 90s, she was a staple in everything X-Men. Everybody loved her costume. That's why her costume in this is very similar to what it was. They didn't change it much because she sold a lot of comics. She was so hot. She was so cool. And so for Claremont to be like, nah, we're going to kill the moneymaker because I got a new hot girl with a big ass here, Sage. So he killed Psylocke off.
Is that really why?
No, that's well.
I
I don't.
mean, no,
It's all
but
speculation. It's all speculation because there was a lot of like actual behind the scenes drama with Claremont and the Marvel offices at the time with the whole Grant Morrison new X-Men run. And so in these first four issues, I feel like to me, I'm choosing to believe that a lot of the quality issues and a lot of the reason why the decisions that are being made are so fucking crazy. I feel like it was Claremont out of rage and like an issue comes out every month. And so by issues
mhm,
5 through 9, which I enjoyed a whole lot more than issues 1 through 4, I was like, maybe Claremont has calmed down a
agreed.
bit. But like 1 through 4, I just kind of felt a lot of rage in his writing. It feels lazy. It feels like he's trying to create this big epic thing to counter Grant Morrison's like simple new X-Men run. And the reason why new X-Men works so well is because it is so simple and it sticks to the foundation. And Claremont's like, no, I'm going to rewrite the book like I did back in the 70s. This is speculation, but look up the
No,
drama,
you're right.
y'all.
That's
It's
fine.
delicious. The drama is delicious. Look it up.
So that's the thing I think for me, right? Is that I have started reading Claremont's original X-Men run, right? And I read a lot of it. I haven't read any recently, but I read a lot of it in a short span. And his writing in that is phenomenal. And then for me to go from that to this is like night and day. And I do think you're right. I do think there is some sort of rage going on here because like it seems haphazard. It seems like it's not completely all there and he's just kind of like I kind of created these characters. I can kind of do whatever I want with them. And even though I'm no longer on the X-Men like flagship title anymore, I'm now on X-Treme X-Men. I can still do whatever I want to with the characters that I have and then make it maybe I don't want to say a little more difficult for other writers to use them because if you want to use Psylocke now, you have to bring her back from the dead, which obviously isn't a problem for anyone, including Claremont. But it just seems it's just night and day in his writing, and it's just crazy to me that how he could write such great stories for Uncanny for so long, and then all of a sudden just like put this out in the world. I'm not saying that every writer has to write a banger, and a lot of writers who do write bangers do write not great stories sometimes. But like this is like a whole different level to me of not good writing.
I
So
100% agree. It seems very out of character for him. Like the idea, like if you want to use these characters, figure out a way because I'm doing what I want with them. Like a lot of the times in this run, especially in these first four issues, it feels like our characters are being punished for something. Like it's
mhm.
rough. It's a lot of rough things happen to them. Issue 3 begins with our heroes reunited and grieving Psylocke's death. She is, in fact, dead. Immediately, the commander of Action Force Diego and his boss Maria appear with a bunch more guards and say they're under arrest. But after some quick conversation, they are like, oh, you guys are actually good. We should work together to find Vargas. Because they realize that Vargas tipped them off and then he's the one that killed all their people. Like, it's very quick, very wrapped up with a bow, kind of annoying. Storm argues with the commander about how he kidnapped them, and he says that he had to determine if they were a threat to Spain because the X-Men have a reputation. Thanks to her new healing abilities from Wolverine, Rogue is essentially back to normal and lets everyone know who Vargas is and about how he was bragging about he was the one who tipped off the Action Force about the X-Men being there. She says she's never fought anyone like him before. Doesn't matter what she tried. Speed, strength, and martial arts, he always found a way to beat her. During that fight, he said that mutants were a mistake, that he was the true Homo sapien superior, which was so ridiculous to read. He told her that he was there to kill one of them and he had chosen her, but then Psylocke showed up and took her place. So that's why Psylocke died. Rogue was supposed to die. He was going to kill her. Bishop does a little bit of investigation because Bishop is a cop and he finds DNA underneath Psylocke's fingernails. Sage confirms that he is neither mutant nor human, that Vargas is much, much more. We do have a flashback where we see Betsy's youth and Sage's Hellfire days collide, where Tessa, back in the days of Hellfire, is trying to convince Betsy to get out of that life. And this is how we find out that Tessa was only ever working in the Hellfire Club as a mole for Charles Xavier because Charles used her. He had her as a secret student when the original X-Men were there and trained her to be a spy. I don't know if it's in this issue or if it's later. I'm going to talk about it now, though, because we're already here. We do see a panel at some point in this read where it shows Charles like training the OG5 X-Men and being like the great bald dad. And then it shows him training Tessa where he's like screaming at her, being like, just treating her like absolute shit because he needs her to be a spy. He needs her to be a mole. And it's just fucked up. Like it's fucked because she was a child that he took off of the street and then just brainwashed to be a spy.
It's gross. It's so
Yes.
gross. It's so gross. And
Yes.
she holds contempt for it because she knows that she could have been an X-Man, and she just happened to, I guess, draw the short end of the stick on that one. And he was like, "No, you're gonna be a spy, and you're actually gonna go do this instead." And I actually kind of resent you for some reason, right? And you're gonna go and work for Sebastian. Like, it's just gross, and the way he handled it is gross.
Yeah.
And Charles Xavier is gross. And as my sister says, does Charles Xavier deserve rights? Let's discuss. No.
No, he doesn't. He puts this child into a incredibly dangerous situation that is hypersexual, where she is sexualized by these gross ass old man with mutton chops, and who knows what all happened. Who knows what all happened to her for her to not blow her cover, because like she's trained to never blow her cover, and it's just fucked up. It's fucked up. But back in the present, the team are looking to get out some frustration. They roll up on one of Spain's biggest crime games and bust them up. They're also looking for Vargas. He's not there, but they interrogate. Rogue has this pretty epic moment where she's like floating above everyone with a guy, and she brings her claws out, one on each side, and she's holding his head by the claws, and she's like, "I can bring out the one in the middle and kill you, or I can close him and drop him, but you're gonna tell me what happened." I'm really committing to the Rogue voice. I'm just gonna commit to it for the rest of this run. They then realized that Vargas has sent them on a wild goose chase, and he was never there with that crime game, and they realized that more than likely the next time they see him is when he decides that another one of them needs to die. We cut to Beast in a hospital who is about to die. There's nothing else that can be done, so Tessa appears to let us know that not only is she a human Cerebro, but she does have, in fact, another mutant power that we didn't know about that allows her to see further mutations and potentials and then bring them into being. She touches Hank and begins a physical transformation that makes him more animalistic and more of a beast, which activates a healing factor. So she uses up a lot of energy to save him. He starts to look more like an animal. His face shifts. She passes out in Storm's arms. Well, no, she starts to collapse in Storm's arms. She doesn't pass out. And she declares, "Tessa is no more. I am Sage," which was very, very dramatic. It's just three of you in a hospital room, girl. Whatever. It works. The beast is healed and is talking again. The three converse and start to think that maybe Xavier has sent Vargas after them to stop them after finding the Destiny Diaries. Everyone's paranoia levels are at an all-time high. The issue then ends with Betsy's... Go ahead.
Sorry, but how do you feel about that? Because I'm kind of on board with... I think that's something that Charles would definitely do.
I absolutely think it's something that Charles would do. I cannot remember if that's where it's going to go, but I would love it if it goes there. I want everyone to hate Charles Xavier.
Because it's almost like Batman, who always has like the contingency plan with like the Justice League, you know? So that's kind of what I felt like when I was reading that, and I was like, Charles could do something like that. I could see him doing something like that. Little weasel.
Listen, as someone who has read the entirety of the Krakoa era, Charles can absolutely do something like that. So I kind of hope that's where it goes. The issue does end with Betsy's twin brother Brian, aka Captain Britain, and his wife Megan flying into Spain to pick up Betsy's body and take Beast back to the X Mansion to heal. We also get one last reminder that Psylocke was the first to die, but that she will not be the last. That is something that's pushed a lot in these first four issues. Beast goes back to heal. In reality, Grant Morrison wanted Beast for their team, and that was a big part of contention between Claremont and Morrison and Marvel. Marvel did side with Morrison, so Beast had to get his ass beat and be sent back to Westchester. Issue 4, because Beast is gone, there's room for Gambit. There's room for Remy LeBeau. So we open with Gambit doing what he does best, breaking into this rich guy's castle in Spain, the rich guy being Vargas. Gambit somehow knows about Vargas and is breaking into his castle. Gambit easily dodges the creepy twins thanks to his like agility and kinetic powers, but Vargas shows up and Gambit's like, "Fuck, I've made a mistake." Vargas is stronger, faster, and basically undefeatable, as we know. Instead of fighting, though, Gambit does the most Gambit thing imaginable and becomes super sexy and charming and just starts talking to Vargas. He challenges Vargas to a card game, and after... I think it ends up being like best 5 out of 6 or something like that. 5 out of 7.
I don't think he actually wins. I think somehow he uses his charm to get out of it. I don't think he actually wins the card battle.
You're right. No, Gambit keeps repeatedly losing the game. He's basically filibustering at this point. Vargas... You can kind of tell that Vargas finds it hilarious because Gambit is clearly doomed, but Gambit refuses to panic. And then we cut over to the X-Men to build suspense, of course. The X-Men are having a quiet night on the beach. There's a campfire. Rogue is playing the guitar, which is kind of
She is.
ridiculous. Just kind of ridiculous. It's all meant to honor Psylocke's memory. Thunderbird feels weird celebrating Psylocke's life because first he had just been getting to know her. They were fucking. That's it. Like that's all really that their relationship was. They were together. She left Angel's ass to bang Thunderbird the third. Meanwhile, Bishop, that is what happened. That is what happened. In my head
Okay.
canon, in my head canon, that is
Okay.
what happened.
Okay, in Gare's headcanon, that's what happens, but Angel actually leaves her. Okay, that's actually what really happens.
Listen, I'm a hater. I'm a hater of Warren. I love Warren. He's right here, but when it comes to Betsy versus Warren, I'm always going to support her rights and wrongs, okay?
That's totally fine. I'm just making sure the people listening know, really.
So yes, we're celebrating Psylocke's memory. Thunderbird feels weird about it. Bishop's off standing to the side, feeling emotional. In Bishop's dystopian future timeline, the X-Men are legendary icons, but seeing them up close, they're just people, like grieving, and it makes him feel weird. Psylocke also wasn't really in the future, according to Bishop. Like she was never mentioned, which is crazy to me.
Thunderbird was. So that's why I'm so confused about this timeline that Bishop comes from. I've never heard of Thunderbird 3 in my life. Listen.
Don't get me started. Hey, I'm going to tell you after this book, we won't see him very much. I don't know what
Really?
happens to him in this
He's just
book, but
gone?
like I haven't seen his ass in a book in a long time. And if he is in a book, his name has changed. I'll say that. I love X-Men. I know a lot about X-Men, but know that there are thousands of issues, so I can't know everything. But if he's still around, news to me.
If you're an X-Men fan, you have to read all of it. You have to read all of the source material.
So yeah, Bishop's having existential feelings, and then all of a sudden he gets pulled into Dreamtime, a mystical realm connected to Gateway, the mutant shaman. Okay, so if y'all don't know Gateway, which I'm sure this was your first experience with Gateway, am I correct?
It was mine, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Gateway is this mutant that's around during the Outback era that just helped teleport the X-Men places. He's in Krakoa a good bit, but he's basically just a naked man. Yeah, he's basically just this naked old man that can like take people wherever they want to go, including Dreamland, Dreamtime.
Also, really quickly, is Bishop Australian? Is that like a canon thing? Does he have like an Australian accent in like X-Men 97?
Yes, he is Australian. I forgot that he was until this book.
But does he have like an Australian accent in like the TV
animated shows? No,
Yeah.
he does not.
So he's Australian by way of America. Okay, cool. All right.
So waiting for Bishop in Dreamtime is Psylocke's ghost. Yes, Betsy is dead, but she's still hanging out because, you know, we need a little bit. She like gives him this cosmic tour, basically. Like the past, the future, and present are all like around him. Past is behind him, future in front of him, and futures in front of him, and then to the left are alternate versions of himself. Then on the right, he sees like something spooky, a gigantic tower reaching into space that reaches across every reality. This is, again, Claremont being fucking weird. And they're suddenly standing on the pages of a massive, big-ass book, a Destiny Diary showing a prophecy from Destiny. And it shows a body crucified on a globe with 6 jewels pinning him down. That body, Bishop recognizes as Gambit. A tree is growing from the center of Gambit's chest and stretches into space. So, yeah, letting us know now that something fucked up is going to happen with Gambit. They see naked Gambit
Thank you.
crucified, and something's going to happen with Gambit in the future. Or, Psylocke explains that Destiny's prophecies are way bigger than the team realizes, and the X-Treme X-Men might actually be able to change the future. But before she can say anything else, the skull-faced entity opens a portal and literally drags her away into the afterlife. Bishop has questions, as you would. Gateway is like, nah, I'm not gonna tell you nothing. And suddenly, the rest of the team pops into Dreamtime too. Why? Because once upon a time, Rogue took Gateway's powers, and now she randomly manifests them, as well as his skin color and his hair, which I thought was a very strange fucking choice to make. But yeah, so Rogue shows up with dreadlocks, and Sage analyzes the cosmic tower that Bishop saw and identifies it as a space elevator. It's a fucking elevator. 2,000 miles in space. So clearly Destiny's prophecies are pointing towards something very big. Nobody knows what it is yet. Then we cut to back in the real world. They head to Destiny's house in Spain to retrieve her diaries. Storm tries to pick the lock while Bishop has a minor crisis about burglary because he used to be a cop. Whatever. He's kind of annoying in this run with all the cop shit. I get it. You were a cop. You don't have to bring it up every 5 seconds. While they're waiting, Bishop's training Thunderbird with energy control. Rogue talks to Sage about helping stabilize her chaotic powers. It's kind of sweet because Rogue's genuinely scared that she might lose control someday. Eventually, Storm gets the door open and they head inside. Waiting for them is a crate from Destiny containing some clothes, some fake identities, and money to fund their world-spanning mission. And also her will, which names Rogue as the sole heir of Destiny's estate. Which, honestly, good for Rogue. She deserves a win with how moody she's been the past 4 issues. Back at the castle now with Gambit. Vargas shows Gambit a statue of Psylocke, which is made out of her body? Question mark? Is that how you read that?
Weird. Honestly, this whole part was weird to me. I'm glad that you're telling me what happened because I couldn't tell you what I read. But yes, that looks like her actual body.
It's kind of insinuated that he exhumed her body and turned her into a fucking statue, as his reward for killing her. Remy gets emotional at this and reminds Vargas. Yeah, he taxidermied her. Gambit gets emotional about at this and reminds Vargas that Psylocke laughed, danced, and kissed better than anyone. Which I was like, okay, why Gambit? Shut the fuck up. But he basically is you killed someone really fucking cool, and Vargas is just whatever. I know you came to steal Destiny's diary. Gambit explains that he's not with the X-Men anymore, that he's just a thief, and so Vargas lets him go. But not before noticing that Gambit stole a massive diamond on the way out of the castle.
So is Gambit not in Morrison's X-Men run?
No, he's not.
Like previously. Well, I mean, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. In the first 3 issues, was he not in the run? He was just vibing. He was a thief again.
Yeah, he was just vibing out in the wild, mad because Rogue wouldn't let him go to the X-Treme X-Men with them.
That's true. She's keeping
him
all
safe pissed.
Here.
Yeah.
She's keeping him safe.
She's keeping him safe from my powers. Yeah. What if I lose control, Remy? Literally is a fucking anyway. I'm very annoyed with the Rogue and Gambit shit in these early issues. Very annoyed with it.
What if I lose control? Sorry.
That was really good, actually. The issue ends back at Destiny's house where they finally open a sealed book-shaped box expecting one of the diaries. There's nothing in it but a fucking rose. Because Vargas has already taken the Destiny diary. Back at the castle. Yep, back at the castle, Vargas is calmly reading the diary. He knows that Gambit stole the diamond, but more importantly, the diary tells him exactly where Gambit's gonna go. Which is Australia.
To go to his woman.
Listen. Hold on, let me adjust my camera. The way that those 4 issues took an hour to talk about.
Yeah, and you know what? When we talk about the Savage Land, all I want to say is, hey, we read 1 through 4 of the Savage Land. The end. I don't even want to discuss it. I don't even want to talk about it.
With editing, that section is probably going to be a lot less than an hour. So if you're listening to this and you're hearing, know that it took us an hour to talk about that. And Marsha's right. We're about to talk about X-Men Savage Land 1 through 4, which is a mini-series for whatever reason that they released at the same time as X-Treme X-Men. Takes place between issues 4 and 5. And if you have read them already with us, I'm so sorry. If you have not read them, but you want to read with us, you can skip Savage Land. You absolutely can skip Savage Land. It does nothing to further the plot. It is mentioned 1 time after this in a very casual way. You do not have to read it. So know that in this recap that I'm about to do, I'm going to try my best to just go through it really quickly.
I would just give the overview. I wouldn't even go deeply into detail about it.
The X-Men? Okay, so here we go. Savage Land. X-Men Savage Land. The X-Men are heading to the Savage Land because Rogue is freaking out about her powers. They don't really tell us why they're going to the Savage Land, other than that, right?
They just are. Yeah, she's been having weird nightmares about velociraptors dressed up as X-Men, and they kill her. And then they're like, oh, we have to go to the Savage Land because you're having dreams about raptors. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. So they're in the X-Jet heading to the Savage Land. Beast is there, suddenly, very healed and wearing his new cute leather outfit from the new X-Men.
As someone who's never read Morrison's X-Men run, I know that they kind of showed us what Beast is supposed to look like when Sage saved him. But like I was very confused this whole time reading or looking at Beast completely changed. I was like, when did he change? He looked the same when I last saw him. And then all of a sudden he's like a beast.
Yeah.
Like an actual beast. I was
Yeah.
very confused.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of collaborating between LaRocca and whoever Morrison's artist was. That bugged me a little bit too. So yeah, they get to the Savage Land, and they find a tribe of humanoid lizard people called Swords who are just trying to relocate to the Savage Land and live peacefully. The X-Men are like, another oppressed minority being chased by the government? That's our shit. Let's hang out with them. So they help escort the Swords through like this hidden tunnel under the ocean that leads to the Savage Land. But someone in the Savage Land is watching them and decides it's time to like fuck their lives up. So they blow open a cavern to the ocean and water starts flooding everywhere. Storm immediately goes into leadership mode while the team tries to evacuate. Rogue's flying, carrying the Blackbird through a tunnel. People are literally riding on top of the jet. Thunderbird and Storm are hauling refugees with ropes. Bishop's flying the plane, blasting stalactites out of the way. Like, it's a whole big, like, just chase scene through a tunnel, okay? While they're all trying to get away. They eventually get out, but the team's separated. A group of them are, like, in this, like, village with the people of the Savage Land, while Sage and Storm are missing. Maybe Bishop's missing too?
Yes, Bishop is also missing.
Yes, so Beast and Rogue and Thunderbird are in this village. Beast is being seduced by this woman named Lupa, this beast lady who's using her pheromones to make him fall in love with her. Rogue's wearing a really pretty dress. There's just a lot. Like we get introduced to like some people and this villain named Brainchild, this ugly ass man wearing an ugly ass crown that controls people, and he like lets us know that he hates these X-Men, and he captured Storm and strapped her in this machine, and he wants to turn her into his savage queen. So he fucks with her brain, somehow also makes her ears pointy, and turns her into this like evil savage queen, and she's fighting against it, but he's like, no, you're gonna kill the X-Men. So eventually Sage and Bishop break out of their like weird cavern that they're stuck in the X-Jet, and they fly to the village, and they're like, something is amiss. Beast is acting weird. Rogue is acting weird. Thunderbird is wearing stupid clothes. And as they're realizing what's happening, and as they're realizing that Storm's not there, Storm appears and attacks them. There's a big old fight. The X-Men win at the end of the day, as they usually do. And then Storm and Beast have an emotional conversation on a mountain where he's like, I'm always here for you, Ororo. And that's the Savage Land arc. Now, know that is 4 issues, and that overview is exactly what happens. There's a lot of weird little dialogue in between that is really bad and that you do not need. None of this goes forward into the other books, so I'm not giving you anything more than that.
He also missed some subplots, but I'm not even going to bring them up just because, again, like he said, they don't even come to fruition at all. They just this book exists is what happens.
No, this book was pictures and words.
Written, and it has art, and it exists. And also, by the way, how did they fix Storm?
Her ears are not pointy anymore.
But she was like a beast. She even said she felt like a beast because he like turned back her like evolutionary clock and made her like a savage.
Okay.
Or something.
Okay. I'm so glad you brought this up because I was already not vibing with this book. And then we got to that scene and I was like, what in the racism is this shit? There's a whole monologue that Claremont writes where he's like, this man resets Storm's biological clock to take her back to her ancestors and basically like calls like Africans savages. And it's like, it was fucked up and weird and made me feel very icky and very weird. And yeah, so if you enjoyed this run, this miniseries, and you wanted us to go in depth on it, I apologize. We both hated it so bad. And if we did go into detail, I fear that we would get derailed a lot because of how much we hate it. There's no way to bias, like there's no way to critique this one in an unbiased way. So we're just not going to. After last week's episode, how upset and angry we were, I don't want this to become a recurring theme on this pod. And so when Marsh was like, we should just do a really quick overview recap, I was like, period.
Yeah.
It don't matter. Like, my notes don't matter. That's it. If you want to read it, you can, but you absolutely don't have to. And I suggest not, because it is a waste of time and it took forever to read, because it's just paragraph after paragraph of buns.
Yeah, honestly, guys.
So
So I rate stuff on Comic Geeks, and I think I gave every single issue of this 0.5 stars. So, and I usually rate my books very, very high. Like if I enjoy it, it usually gets like a 4 out of 5. This got a 0.5 out of 5 for all 4
that's
issues or however many there were. Like it was bad.
that is such a good point, because I am so easy to please. I am so easy to
Mhm.
please. I rate books so high. If I, like you said, if I enjoy it, I tend to focus on the good. There is no good in this, almost at all. Like
No.
there's a couple of cool art sequences, but no. Like I will say, when the X-Jet was flying through the tunnels, it felt kind of like a Millennium Falcon scene, and I was like, this is cool. But that's literally
That's
the
fair.
high point of the entire series. Like that entire mini.
Yeah.
Just awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Anyway, I'm gonna speak for Gare on this one, guys. I'm gonna recommend that you don't read it. If you've never read it, don't read it. If you're reading with us, don't read it. Skip it. Just don't ever read it ever. It's not good. It's bad. And I don't usually say that about books. I usually let people form their own opinions. But this is bad. I will go on record saying this is bad. Don't read it.
Yes. Yes. I agree. I agree completely. Um and it, like literally, like I wish y'all could have seen our text chain throughout the week as we were reading these books, because like we typically do not talk to each other about the books at all. We try to keep all of our thoughts to ourselves. It was virtually impossible to do this time. It just want to say that. But on to brighter things. The next arc, issues 5 through 9 of Extreme X-Men, is a lot better than what you just
Mm-hmm.
read. The team are chilling where they were when we last saw them in the mainline Extreme X-Men run. Rogue's penthouse in Valencia, Spain, digging into one of Destiny's mysterious diaries. They are still trying to find all 13, as you know. They're using these VR glasses to basically step inside the diary visions, and we get to see what's happening. We witness Professor X publicly outing himself as a mutant, which happened in Morrison's new X-Men run because of Genosha getting bombed, which I think is talked about in this issue a little bit. Genosha, the mutant island that Magneto kind of created, is destroyed, and a lot of mutants died. A lot of mutants died. So we get to see the Extreme X-Men react to that. The vibes are pretty bleak, but the meeting gets interrupted by some breaking news that Gambit is currently wanted for murder in Australia for killing a crime boss named Viceroy. So naturally, the Extreme X-Men hop out of Spain and head to Australia to find Gambit.
To be fair, Storm didn't want to. Rogue is the one who was like, "Hey, we have to go save Remy. To go save my not husband yet from himself." Because
True.
he wouldn't have done that.
That was good. That was a good Southern accent. See, that's your real accent. I know that that's your real accent. That the one that you use on this pod is not real. That's my theory, is that that is your real accent. And I'm gonna, my headcanon, that's what you sound like in everyday life. So yeah, the
Actually,
X-Men.
you know what? Give me a few drinks, Gare, and the Southern accent comes out. Usually,
Does it really?
Like right now.
Oh,
Yeah, it'll come
I
out.
cannot wait. I cannot wait to hang out in person and get you
It'll-
drunk. We're going to be kikiing over some biscuits and gravy. So yeah, the X-Men go to Australia. Storm doesn't want to, but they do go. We see Bishop roll up into an Australian police station posing as a federal agent, which I thought was hilarious. I love the morals of the X-Men. Like, I love that they're just like, we'll do what we want because these motherfuckers hate us. So that he poses as an FBI agent. The evidence that they have against Gambit is pretty bad. There's a video of Gambit at the crime scene, witnesses, his criminal past. The cops are like, it's fucking Gambit. He killed this crime mafia dude, Viceroy.
But
Storm
Gambit doesn't kill people.
But Gambit would never kill no one. He's just a thief. Speaking of Rogue, Storm, Thunderbird, and Sage head to Viceroy's mansion to basically try to reenact the murder. Immediately, Bishop's like, maybe Gambit did it. And Rogue's like, say that again and I will throw you into the sun. Like, Storm tries to be neutral. It's the truth. Storm tries to be neutral, but even she admits that Gambit has killed before and, you know, he might do it again. That goes over about as well as that you would expect. And Rogue is like, fuck y'all, and flies off. While the rest of the gang go into the safe. Meanwhile, in Australian Chinatown, Gambit is secretly spying on a shady meeting between this man named Julius Gao and this creepy old dude named the Examiner. Their plan is to kill Viceroy's secret children so Gal can take over the Australian Triad. Rogue infiltrates this fancy restaurant that Gambit is in while wearing a kimono. That's all I'm going to say about it.
And her sunglasses. Don't forget her red sunglasses.
And her sunglasses. The reunion with Gambit is flirty and lasts about 5 seconds before Gal's goons attack them with anti-mutant power dampeners, so they don't have their powers. And they go into Gal's office and find Gal dead with one of Gambit's cards stuck in his back. Someone is actively framing Gambit. But before they can process that, Gal's grandson, who's like a martial arts god, Red Lotus, bursts in and beats their asses, unconscious. And then the creepy-ass Examiner dude comes in and drags them away. This man scared me so bad. Sorry. Like, just talking about him.
The old man?
Yeah. Just talking about him. While I was reading it, I was so uncomfortable. The way they drew him, like, I could hear his voice clear as day in my head, and I was like, I'm genuinely terrified of this man. Anyway.
What do you mean? So, this is going to sound bad, and if it does, you can cut it. But he kind of reminds me of the Mandarin from, like, Iron Man comics. Like, he was always, like, depicted as, like, with the big teeth and, like, the fingernails that were always long. And I'm like, you're giving me Mandarin vibes, and I don't know how I feel about it. But I also want to talk about, I didn't know that they used anti-mutant dampeners. It just like a blue, like, electric bolt blew up in one of the panels, and all of a sudden they don't have powers. And I was like, okay, cool, they don't have powers. So Rogue can't do anything. Gambit can't charge up his kinetic energy. Cool. Rogue once again gets her ass kicked.
Yeah, that's all my baby. That's all my baby's been doing. This whole book is getting her ass kicked.
And then she's like, well, I might have my mutant powers back again. Let's take Red Lotus's power and let's kiss him to take his power away. And I was like, the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And then she was like, wow, that was nice. And I'm like, what in the actual hell is going on in this book?
Okay, that was in that fight scene at the end of that issue. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. She does randomly is like, I'm just gonna kiss this man, and then she's like, wow, and then he knocks her out. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Like the love of my life is here, but I'm gonna kiss this other man first because, like, I want to kiss him, and then all of a sudden his powers are still there, so I get my ass kicked again. The end.
Yeah. They're clearly either not exclusive or open to a polycule because, like, they both are so horny for other people in this book. We see Gambit later have a horny moment.
That's true, but, like, I don't know. I feel like Gambit is like Scott in this situation. I feel like Gambit is more loyal than the female counterpart, and I don't know how I feel about that, but that's just my opinion. And what's going on right now.
Like, a lot of the dialogue, or a lot of, like, the conversation around Rogue and Remy in the 90s and 2000s is that, like, Gambit has been down from the moment he met her to be with her. But until she wants that, like, she don't trust him. Like, she also has a lot of, like, self-loathing from, like, her first kiss, like, not killing that dude, but basically putting him in a coma. Like, she has a lot of trauma around that shit. But and there is the sliding timeline of Marvel, so, like, we don't really know how long they've known each other at this point. But I would say at least 4 years. I would say at least 4 years from meeting. Like, that's where we are now. Like, in their timeline, it does seem to be played out. Like, you have all of the 90s Rogue being like, no, and Gambit's like, please share, please, and Rogue's just like, no. And yeah, so, like, their dynamic is weird as hell in this, and it's like, what are you fucking doing, Claremont? Like, why are we having her kiss this random dude she just met? She ain't even met him yet. She just think he hot.
Yeah.
She's like, he's got muscles and he's fighting me. I'm gonna kiss him. What?
That's the thing, though, right? Is like it was the will they won't they from the 90s, right? The will they won't they from the 90s, and then it just kept carrying over. It is almost like a TV show that's, like, played out the will they won't they for too long and lost their audience because the sexual chemistry is there, but then nothing ever comes to fruition, so everybody leaves for something else.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I will say, like, I don't care about them at all in this run so far. Like, I'm just like, whatever. Like, there are a couple of moments in these issues that I'm like, oh, there they are. But, like, it takes literal decades from this moment before they even finally come together.
So, like, actually like enjoyed them in what was it? The one of the ones that we had to read before one of the ones that we read before we read X-Treme X-Men.
The Christmas issue.
Like they were like, yeah, I liked them in that. They were pretty good in that. And then all of a sudden, Rogue was like, Remy, you can't come with me because I don't know what that accent is. Remy, you can't come with me because
You just did Chris's accent that he has when he has a few drinks. That's what that was. That was your husband.
Remy, you can't come with. I can't do it because I'm worried about you and I want to keep you safe.
Literally. And I don't understand why Claremont did that. What was that? Why not just bring Gambit? Where's Gambit going if he's not going to be on the new X-Men? So I'm glad that they had to kick Beast off because now Gambit's here, like against Claremont's wishes.
And you know what? That's fine with me because honestly, Claremont probably would have. Actually, if Claremont killed Beast, I wouldn't care. But he probably would have killed Beast at some point. So
yeah.
But
Yes, issue 6 starts. Rogue and Gambit have been kidnapped. Bishop is investigating Viceroy's autopsy. We learn that the Viceroy didn't get shot. He suffocated in a room full of air, which is really interesting. This immediately kind of points towards someone with like illusion powers. But they then from that we catch up with Storm and Thunderbird, who have traveled down the Golden Coast to track down Viceroy's secret kids in this place called Surfer's Paradise. We meet the kids. Heather Cameron is the female. She is an adult woman. She is a lifeguard. And then her little brother, Davis, who is just your typical surfer bro. Naturally, this investigation includes Storm and Thunderbird, both in incredibly risque, sexy bathing suits. Because what else would you wear to the beach? Storm swimming, trying to get a feel on Davis, while Thunderbird is like having a conversation with Heather at her lifeguard stand. Suddenly, a great white shark appears and attacks everyone at the beach, including Storm and Davis. Thunderbird blasts the shark with his nuclear plasma finger gun because comic books.
Jaws. It was Jaws. We just Jaws the Great White.
It was, but Heather rushes into the ocean to try to help get Storm and Davis out because Storm is getting Davis, but because of the nuclear blast, it's created a current that's pulling them away. So Heather runs in and we see a little bit of her skin turn gold into a golden metal. So we know that she is a mutant. No one else really does, though. We cut back to Rogue and Gambit. The Examiner has them chained up in a very BDSM, Chris Claremont kind of way with needles sticking out all over their body.
Let me
you gonna show us?
Look at that. Yeah, look at Rogue first off. Like, what is happening? Why is Rogue all risque in that?
Yeah.
Anyway.
They took her dress off. They took her dress off to put needles in her. And they were like, well, we might as well make her hot. Oh, and there's Sage. There's Sage's big ass over there, too. Listen, and I'm going to talk about why.
Well, that's fine.
But yeah, so I'll talk about Sage's big ass in approximately 30 seconds. But basically, the Examiner has them chained up, sticking with needles all over their body to try to torture the truth out of them. He's very scary. He gives very serial killer energy. I was deeply uncomfortable.
Actually,
Rogue pulls out a needle.
I'm so glad I can give give pictures for this.
I hate the way they drew him. I hate it so much. Rogue pulls out a needle and gets her powers back and kind of wrecks the room. There's like a moment with Red Lotus where he's starting to kind of believe them. And they're like, well, if you kind of believe us, we're just going to knock your ass out and take you with us. So essentially that is what happens in that room. Back in Sydney, Australia, Sage slowly is realizing that her surroundings are changing. She's like, you know, she's being Oracle. She's sitting there being the human Cerebro, checking in on everybody. Her hotel suite kind of keeps slowly morphing into the Hellfire Club. Like her outfit changes and she doesn't realize, and she just keeps being like, something is wrong. Something isn't right here. And then eventually she does see herself in her Hellfire Club outfit and she's like, what is going on? And that is when we find out that Lady Mastermind, the daughter of Jason Wyngarde Mastermind from the Dark Phoenix saga, has trapped Sage inside a massive illusion. Sage knocks her out, but the illusion keeps going. And then Sebastian Shaw shows up inside the illusion and starts attacking her.
That nasty bitch. Sebastian Shaw is so gross. He is so gross.
Yes, he is.
And I'm kind of glad that like he hasn't lost his grossness, you know, from like right
from beginning to Krakoa, he's still just as disgusting. And I love the consistency there, because a lot of times in X-Men you will find villains eventually become X-Men. Sebastian Shaw, nah, he's a piece of shit through and through.
Also, really quickly, why is every woman's outfit with the Hellfire Club, like a corset
And panties.
and panties.
Because Sebastian Shaw is disgusting. That's why. Why is his
Okay.
shirt always off?
He actually had a shirt on this time, I think. Didn't he?
He
Thought he
does.
did.
He does in this, but there is a page or two where he's just walking around without a shirt on and he's wearing his
That
pantaloons.
sounds like Sebastian Shaw. But yeah, I was just noticing that like the whole like even whatever the hell her name is in the first original Uncanny run when we are introduced to the Hellfire Club, Jean, I can't think of what her name was in that part. But Jean was in the same exact getup, and it's gross. Jean's hot.
It is.
Don't get me wrong. It's still gross.
It is gross. Be aware that they could find a way to sexualize a woman in those early runs. They did it. And they certainly did. And they still kind of do in this book too. I will say though, like some characters, like it works for, like Emma using her sexuality as a weapon, of course. Like but why, you know, I will like look at them wearing their costumes in these fight scenes and I'm like, I know that they have a UTI from hell. Like, I feel for them, you know? Do you know what I mean? Psylocke's got deep problems. Psylocke has, like, permanent callousing on her thighs from the chafing.
Oh my God. No, she uses the chafe cream.
You're right. And you're right. Actually, you're so right. She's smart. Betsy constantly has...
She knows.
That instant Amazon, like, refill that they send you a package of the chafe cream every 3 days. Yeah, she's good.
But I agree with you though. Like I do think that some characters do use the sexuality to help them. Like Emma Frost. Even Gambit does it, but he does it in a more charming way because he's a man. Like I don't know. Sometimes it's portrayed grossly. I'm not saying that sometimes when Emma does it, it isn't gross. But like I don't know, just the Hellfire Club in general just gives me gross vibes. And what I read about them so far, it's really, really gross. In Krakoa, they seem to be a little bit better, but like from this book, and even when we are first introduced to the Hellfire Club, I'm like, gross men making women wear sexualized stuff. It's just it's not a vibe.
You should read the original Emma Frost solo series from the mid 2000s. Because it like tells her whole life and it shows like what she goes through when she joins the Hellfire Club.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so interesting to like read what we know in Uncanny and know where Krakoa Hellfire Club goes because Emma's in charge of it. And just if you want to get a little bit more in depth on why it's so gross, read that run. It's rough. It is rough. Okay. But it makes you really love Emma, I will say. It's a pretty solid solo series. Not the one that just came out last year, but it's like from the mid 2000s. It's just called Emma Frost.
Okay, so not the White Queen one, but it's just called Emma Frost. Okay.
Yeah, just Emma Frost. So that's basically issue 6. Issue 7, we catch up with Storm, Thunderbird, Heather, and Davis. Like I think they're like in a mall or they're in some area near the beach where they're all talking and flirting. Storm and Davis are flirting a lot. They have like a real chemistry going. Thunderbird is hanging out with Heather and talking. There's like a flirty vibe there, but not as much as Storm and Davis. This is the most like horny for a man I've ever seen Storm be. And that's wild to me. I was gagged reading this. I was like, this is, you know what? Let her have her cookie, Happy for her. But I did find it so strange. But anyway, they're hanging out talking and Storm realizes that they haven't heard from anybody in a couple of days. So Storm's like, I'm going to go back to Sydney to see what's going on. Thunderbird, you stay here with Heather and Davis. And while they're talking about that, these assassins, the Triad assassins, show up and attack Storm, Thunderbird, and the Camera Kids and everybody else in the mall. During this fight, Heather's powers fully activate and she becomes fully gold-skinned. Like, imagine Colossus fully golden with blonde hair and double Ds. Like, she is Pamela Anderson lifeguard. Like, I was like, I am obsessed with her. Like, instantly, I was like, I don't know her. Like, I don't remember her from my childhood. And I don't, like, if she's in Krakoa, I don't remember. But I love her instantly. I think this is why I enjoyed this. I was like, this is the cuntiest reveal I've seen in a long time. Like, she immediately starts kicking asses. And during this fight, she, like, announces herself and her superhero name as Lifeguard, which I was like, okay, y'all are so lazy, but it does actually really work.
Such a bad name. It's such a bad name.
It is such a bad name, but I think it works because we find out that her superhero power is her power immediately adapts to whatever she needs to save someone's life or her own life. So she can do all kinds of shit. But right now we see her in just fully golden armor and she looks sick.
She does. She looks really cool.
Back in Lady Mastermind's illusion, Sage is being forced to relive her life. And this is where we get to really see the full extent of the abuse that Professor X, Charles Xavier, horrible piece of shit man, inflicted upon her. She was a homeless child. She was recruited by Professor X. It shows her being forced to become a spy and give up her youth and childhood and not have friends because Charles is keeping her in the basement and making her become like this heartless spy. And we see her joining the Hellfire Club. She just is constantly walking through doors into the worst parts of her life over and over and over again. And Lady Mastermind and Shaw are monologuing as villains do, and they're saying that the more that she goes through it, the less loyalty she will feel for Charles Xavier because she's being shown how awfully he treated her, which I was like, that's actually really, really smart of them. I thought that was a very clever thing to introduce him in this plot, because like, why
Yeah.
you know, so many of these X-Men blindly follow Charles, but it's because of repetition. Like, they really believe in his dream because he's forced his dream upon them over and over and over again. And you see that throughout the years with a lot of X-Men. That's why Jean Grey became Dark Phoenix, because she was never really allowed to be a child. She always had a man in her ear telling her what to do.
That's fair.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I agree with Charles's like overall premise, right? Like he thinks that humans and mutants should live together in peace, right? Like I get that part.
Yes.
But like it's really when you get down to like the nitty gritty stuff where like he like forces people to like want to believe that. Kind of how he almost tries to beat it into Magneto, and Magneto's like, nah,
No.
you're not getting me, Charles.
The dream is admirable, but the methodology is despicable a lot of the time with Charles. So Rogue is returning to the hotel, flying through the air with Gambit and Red Lotus in her arms, but waiting for them there are Sebastian Shaw and Lady Mastermind. Shaw punches Rogue so hard that she flies through multiple hotel rooms because Sebastian Shaw's powers are very similar to Bishop's. Any force that is inflicted upon him, he can turn around and push back. Because of that, when Rogue fights back, it only makes Shaw stronger. Gambit and Red Lotus jump out of a window during this chaos, and Lady Mind, I need to use my words. Lady Mastermind then traps Rogue in a nightmare illusion. She sees herself and Gambit together. She sees Thunderbird bleeding out. She sees Vargas standing over the dead X-Men. He taunts her about killing Psylocke. Meanwhile, in reality, Shaw and Lady Mastermind plan to brainwash Rogue, use her to assassinate the crime bosses, but also let her kill the X-Men so Shaw can take over the entire Australian underworld, because it is revealed that Shaw is actually the one that masterminded the murder of Viceroy. Messy.
You know what? You know what, though, Garrett? This could have been such a good story if it was written well in the first 4 issues. Okay? And even maybe a little bit cleaner in the ones that we're reading right now. Do you know how hard that would have gone if it was actually written like Dark Phoenix Saga written, or like Proteus written, or like something like that? This just feels all kinds of clunky, and I do like these last couple issues before the beginning of this, but like it could have been so good. That reveal could have been so good. It was still decent, but like
yeah,
so much wasted potential that could have been like a great story.
All because it was bogged down in weird internal politics at Marvel. Like that is such a bummer. But you do kind of feel Claremont finding his footing in this run because of the potential of this had. Like it's made me have hope for the rest of the run. I'm like, maybe he's like getting back in his groove and he's not as mad anymore, because this, I felt like he started to cook here, but it does feel rushed. It does feel like a lot of plot slammed into 5 issues. So outside of the hotel, Red Lotus and Gambit are falling. They're basically parkouring down the building, like kind of, and like they hit the ground. Gambit lands on top of a car. They're both miraculously okay. Gambit figures it out that Sebastian Shaw and Mastermind are behind everything, and he and Red Lotus make a deal. They have to team up to save Rogue and stop Shaw. Issue 8 is where we are. Issue 8, is that the silent issue, or was that issue 7 that we just did?
That's the silent issue. 8 is the silent issue. This is the one where I got confused because they like ended the arc in this issue almost, essentially. but there
Yes.
was no words.
So back in 2001, as a response to September 11th happening, all of Marvel did a like Nuff said silent month. From what I understand, from what I read about why this issue had no words. If that is not fully true, I apologize, but that is what the internet told me. So essentially, this entire issue, the rest of this plot plays out with no text bubbles at all, no dialogue, no backstory. It's just art, all 30 pages. So I'm gonna do my best to tell you what happens. We open in Sydney, where Gambit strolls out of an alley. We see this man treating his girlfriend like shit. Gambit trips him up with his staff. He also somehow blows up an entire bus full of triad assassins, I think, is what I got from that, with his playing cards. And he like flirts with the woman. It's insinuated that she now is in love with Gambit, because why wouldn't you be? He's Gambit.
She's infatuated.
Yes, she's infatuated with him. Meanwhile, thanks to Lady Mastermind, Rogue is trapped in a powerful illusion. She thinks she's rescuing Gambit. You know, Vargas is everywhere. She's still dressed in geisha form in reality, but she's carrying Lady Mastermind around thinking that she's Gambit. And they've got it set up where, like, every time she sees an X-Men, they look like enemies. So she's, like, about to fuck up the X-Men. Maybe. She hasn't fucked up anybody in this entire run so far. So, I was like, what kind of threat is this? Back at the hotel, Shaw is holding Sage hostage. Back at the hotel, Sebastian Shaw is holding Sage hostage while she's stuck in her illusion coma. Red Lotus shows up and starts beating Shaw up with his pressure point kung fu, which I thought was really cool. I like Red Lotus a lot. I thought he was a cool character to be included in this. Eventually, Shaw gets thrown through a wall and disappears. Rogue does, in fact, attack the X-Men. Storm, Thunderbird, the Cameron siblings, because in her mind she thinks they're Vargas and his goons. I wrote she rocket punches the entire group out of the sky. That is not true, but she does put up a good fight. During the chaos, Heather Cameron's powers activate. She grows gold skin again and wings. Storm's blasting Rogue with lightning, but Rogue basically barely notices that and just keeps going. Rogue eventually ends up crashing into a Victorian gentleman's club, is what it kind of looks like, where Bishop, this blue-haired other cop that he's working with that's not really important, and a bunch of like other dudes are already in a huge gunfight. But because of this illusion, Rogue thinks everyone is Vargas. She punches Bishop through a wall. She basically destroys the building. But then the real Gambit arrives and taps Rogue on the shoulder, and she starts to beat the hell out of him. But as she fights him, Lady Mastermind's illusion starts to weaken, and you see Rogue like see Gambit's face kind of push through the illusion. And she realizes she's been trying to kill Gambit, and they have a hug, and it's over. The illusion is over for Rogue because of the power of love.
I'm so glad that you're recapping this for everyone who hasn't read it, because I read it and I couldn't tell you what the hell was happening. And throughout this whole, it was just a lot of pictures, and I was trying to follow it, but like ending it on a big fight like that and not having any words, I was having trouble following what was going on with the art personally. But now that you've like kind of explained it, I'm like, oh, yep, that's exactly what happened. Good job, Gare. You're doing a great job.
It took me about an hour to go through each page and decipher and write down little sentences about what I thought was happening. So know that if they're not at a Victorian gentleman's club, that's what I thought. That's where I thought they were. Basically, this issue ends with Shaw disappearing. Lady Mastermind is still kind of manipulating things. The team, it's kind of over, but there's still like loose ends. Like Shaw's gone, Lady Mastermind's still doing stuff because Sage is still catatonic. So the team doesn't know how to fix her, and that's how we go into issue 9, which is the true final issue of this arc. At the beginning of the issue, Storm gets a surprise visit on the balcony during a thunderstorm. She's just hanging out when suddenly Jean Grey astrally projects to her, and I was so grateful to see her. I've missed her so much in this run, and she's just floating. And so then she and Storm just have like a girls' day out and catch up. They go through like a psychic shopping mall, and there's a lot. We find out that Jean Grey is now the headmistress of the school because of some drama that's happening in the new X-Men run. Basically, just to fill you in, we find like in new X-Men, we find out that Professor X has a twin sister named Cassandra Nova who's evil and has taken over his body. And there's a lot of anti-mutant violence increasing back in America, and Jean is really worried about that. And also, Jean and the gang suspect that they've been infected with this virus. So she's telling Storm, you got to stay away from the mansion because something psychic and dangerous is happening here. And we don't want you to get infected. We need you out there just in case we need to bring you in as our secret weapon. Oh, I thought you had something to say. Sorry.
No. That is exactly what happened. I really enjoyed the Storm and Jean day out kind of vibe that was like intertwined in the story. It was really fun, just kind of like chilling and seeing them talk about their lives, and Jean not really talking about her life, she's talking about what's going on at the school. But it's just really nice to like take a breath from like what's been going on in this book. That's for sure.
Yes. And it was just like to show them off having like their best friendship, which we don't see a lot of in the comics. Like just like moments like this, like we know they're best friends, and there are moments where it's revealed, but like this was like a deep dive into that, and it was cool to see Jean be like, "Girl, you got a boyfriend." Like that was super cute to me.
Yeah, agreed. But yes, it was really fun to see them like have like just a good girl chat. Sometimes you got to have a good girl chat. And they got to have one, and it was really, really nice. And yeah,
it was a very nice like breath of fresh air. Meanwhile, during all that, Gambit and Red Lotus go back to Chinatown and confront the Triad Council, where they reveal the truth to everybody that the Examiner actually was the one that killed Red Lotus's grandfather because he had been working with Sebastian Shaw, and they worked together so that Shaw could take over Australian's crime syndicate. The Examiner tries to escape, but Gambit blows up the exit with his cards, and they realize the Triad is like, oh, he framed Gambit. And so they clear him, wrapped up with a bow. I was grateful. I didn't have to look at that man for too long. I'm scared of him. He's so scary. He would put needles in me. I know it.
He would put needles.
Back at the hotel, Sage is still trapped in Lady Mastermind's illusion world. So, thankfully, we have a new mutant, a part of the team, whose power is literally to adapt to however someone needs their life saved. So, Heather's power drags her into the illusion world for Sage. Inside Sage's mind, Heather finds herself in a bizarre mental landscape where she is like witnessing Sage's life. She gets to see all the shit that we saw earlier with Professor X and the Hellfire Club and all of that. Lady Mastermind shows up in this illusion world and attacks Heather. She starts throwing scary, insane illusions at her to try to kill her, like putting her Heather, lifeguard, drowning underwater. But Heather keeps transforming. She becomes a mermaid, a whale. Like her power is saving her too. It's very cool. I thought this was a really cool. I love a psychic fight, and I love that we got to see Heather's powers work to their full extent. Like to see her turn into a golden mermaid was really cool. But she can't actually kind of beat Lady Mastermind. Go ahead.
I thought that you would like it. I saw her turn into a mermaid, and I was like, Garrett's gonna like that.
I love a mermaid. Like that. I love a mermaid so much. My favorite Disney movie is Little Mermaid. I love mermaids. So I was like, lifeguard, we're here. You're a part of my team forever. I don't know what happens to her. I'm so scared, but I love her. But Heather can't actually beat Mastermind. She realizes that like this is just going to keep going on forever because like Lady Mastermind's just too good. The secret plot twist of this though is that Sage has had a plan the whole time. She's been playing chess. She secretly infiltrated Heather's mind inside the illusion while Lady Mastermind wasn't paying attention. And then there's like a weird scene that kind of confused me, but this is how I wrote it down. Shaw tries to make Sage shoot her own duplicate to prove loyalty. Sage, in Lifeguard's armored body, jumps in front of the bullet, and then the psychic backlash of that hits Lady Mastermind instead and fucks her up mentally. Like, I was just confused. I was like, I don't know who Sage is right now because their faces changed. Like they changed faces. Like it was just confusing. But basically at the end of the day, Sage saves the day and sends a psychic bullet back at Lady Mastermind and knocks them out. Illusion is destroyed. Finally. Lady Mastermind's catatonic in a hospital somewhere. Sage wakes up and tells Heather, yeah, I did take over your brain. And Heather's pissed off. Sage apologizes for that, but says it was the only way and that, she'll try not to do it again, but she can't make any promises.
I don't know if I would accept that apology though. Like you fully took advantage of this person who came in to save you, and you just took over their whole body and mind without asking for anything. You just did it because you can. It's giving
Listen
Charles
though,
Xavier vibes.
this
It's giving
this is what
Charles
I
Xavier vibes.
this is exactly what I was about to say. Charles, when he was training Jean in her telepathic powers, like 15-year-old Jean would brag about how easy it was to just take over someone else's mind. And Charles said that they do it all the time, that they have to. Like, he trained these little girls to just do what they want with their mind powers because he does what he wants with his mind powers. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm worried. I'm worried about Sage. I'm worried that she's gonna do something unforgivable that she can't come back from because of Charles Xavier influence.
No spoilers. I'm not going to say anything. Meanwhile, Bishop is trying to arrest Sebastian Shaw. Shaw gets to walk away. Of course he does because of lack of evidence. But the crime syndicates now know that Shaw betrayed them, so he's probably going to get his ass beat by those guys. In the final scene, we go back to Jean and Storm. Jean ends the psychic call with Storm and lets her know that Cassandra Nova is heading to the Shi'ar Empire pretending to be Xavier, and that the X-Men may soon be facing an alien empire, and that Storm's team might be the secret weapon, which is fun. So maybe we'll see that played out. I know that they do show up in the new X-Men run, but I don't think we're reading any new X-Men in this read through. So if we have to, we will let you know. But so, after these 13 issues, this is where everyone kind of ends up. Gambit's cleared of his murder charges. Rogue is recovering from her mind control trauma. Sage is back online. Lifeguard's a part of the team. And yeah, Storm's squad just kind of became a very important key to the future of the X-Men, especially with the Destiny Diaries. We didn't really get anywhere with the Destiny Diaries in this arc, but I am okay with that. I'm grateful for a fun little beach adventure, and I'm grateful for some cool Sage backstory. And I had fun with this one, even though like the issue with no text or dialogue at all kind of brought it down for me. I still had a really good time with this one, and I'm grateful that this is where we left off versus where we started, because where we started, whoo girl.
Yeah, where we started was rough. As Gare said, if we could drop the TMs on what we were talking about while we were reading the first couple issues, y'all, it was a lot of, hey, this isn't fun. This is kind of a slog.
Yeah.
No, but
To
I
go
agree
to
that I really did like how we ended things. It seems like it's on a much higher writing note than where we started, just because like, and it gives me kind of hope for maybe what's coming in the future. Maybe we're gonna keep hitting where we're already at, and maybe even excel. Maybe, I don't know, in the writing, because we still have Vargas. He's still a big player. We still have the Destiny Diaries that we still have to figure out. There's a whole bunch of plot threads that are still around that I think we'll eventually get closure for. At least I hope so. But yeah, I do. I really wish that the first 4 issues were written better, because that the execution of Sebastian Shaw being like the big bad in, kind of where we ended up would have been such a cool reveal had the rest of it been written well. And I'm gonna be forever upset about it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, like, to go from the last 9 issues of Gotham Central being the bummer that they were and kind of the mid quality that they were, to immediately go into something else that was just a bummer to read, I feel like that made it even harder. Like, because I was still like in the dark cloud of Gotham when I started this, and I was like, oh no, this is rough.
Yeah, that's fair. Because I started reading it Monday afternoon, because I was like, I have to like, we're reading a whole bunch. I was like, I'm gonna try and read a couple issues every day. And dude, when I tell you, like I said, I read the first issue in like 40 minutes, and I was like, I cannot read more than 1 issue at a time right now.
Yeah. It's a lot to process. A lot. So yeah, if you read these with us, you are a trooper. You are a hero. Let us know. We'll not pay for your therapy. Sorry. You got to live with that. You made a choice. You made a choice to join us, but I do apologize that this was the introduction to X-Men. I did not know.
I was just going to say, like, for anyone who is reading with us, if this is your first X-Men book, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You can stop. I would stop reading this and go read Claremont's Uncanny Run. Way better. That's
or flip, like, if you don't want to go back that far, flip over to New X-Men, the Grant Morrison run. Don't tell Claremont, but
read Krakoa by Hickman.
Yes, you could read Krakoa by Hickman as well. You could. X-Men is, my favorite superhero team ever. There are bad books in every franchise's history, but
yeah,
I will say this is not indicative of how great X-Men can be. This is not. And yeah, hopefully it just gets better and better and better. But what other things do we need to talk about? Do you have a recap? I don't have a recap.
Do I have a recap? I'm trying to think about what I read this week. I mean, I read the Perils of Ezra Kane, which I really liked. So I finally read that this week. It came out like 2 weeks ago. It's a Vertigo title by Chris Condon and the arts by Jacob Phillips. They also did that Texas Blood.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I really enjoyed it. It's like a pulp noir kind of vibe set in like the 50s, so it has like that like grungy kind of, I say grungy, kind of like that grungy kind of feel from like the 40s pulp noir films. The character you find out kind of has like an Indiana Jones background, so it's like Indiana Jones with like James Cagney, if you know who that is from like the gangster films. So like with like sprinkled in with like a little bit of Humphrey Bogart, but like I really liked it. I think I told you like when I finished it, I just immediately wanted to reread it because I thought it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just basically like these people found these Greek artifacts, and they're with Greece right now, and basically Hitler's moving into Greece and needs these for something. So like I said, the Indiana Jones vibe. And then they want to bring like the Greek museum wants to send it to America so they can keep it away from Hitler. And so like that's where they bring in Ezra Kane, who like was supposed to be an archaeologist, but he ended up going to World War One, so he didn't get to finish his archaeology degree. So when he came back from the war, he ended up being a PI. So like I'm here for it. It was really good, and I can't wait to kind of see where else everything else goes in this. I think it's gonna be kind of like it's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be really cool.
It sounds really good. I almost picked it up the other night when I went to the big city. And then I was like, I don't know if I'm going to wait until a trade or not. How long is it going to be? Do we know?
So it's 6 issues, but I think the way that it's kind of like the way I think it's gonna be set up is gonna be kind of like it's gonna be like a 6 issue mini for like this one adventure, and then I think
Mm-hmm.
there's gonna be like another adventure. I think it's gonna be kind of like Indiana Jones esque, like I said. Like it's gonna have a 6 issues for like that one adventure, and then like maybe take a break, and then another 6 issues for another adventure, something like that. I think I don't actually know, but I do know that this whole like the first arc or like this whole thing is 6 issues at least. So
Okay.
you could trade weight for it.
Yeah, I might just trade weight, honestly, because I'm just trying to not read so many current things because I do find the more books I have currently, the less I read of like back issues, and I really do like want to
Yeah.
read more about like Fantastic Four and so on and so on. You know, for me, I Moonstar is my favorite pull of the week that I read. Loved it so much. I love Danny Moonstar. I hope that a lot of people buy it. Briar actually DM'd me because she went to her LCS to pick it up after we talked about it, and there was only one left, and they said that it sold really fast. So I'm hoping that's indicative of like
Well, that's
what's
good.
happening across the country, because I would love for her to get maybe added to a team full time or something. I just love her so much. She's a very cool Native American character. She's from the New Mutants team, and she's besties with Magic. So Magic's such a permanent fixture now in X-Men that it'd be nice to have like another part of that team join the roster full time, you know? It's very good, and there's like her Valkyrie history. She becomes a part of the Valkyries, like Asgardian Valkyries for a while back in like the 80s and 90s too, I think a little bit. That's being played out in this run too, so I think that's really cool. I will say pop culture wise, this new album by Harry Styles, Kiss All the Time, wait, no. Yeah, Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally is like a no skip album, start to finish. Absolutely fantastic. It is so good. Basically an album of just pure vibes, and I've had a really good time listening to it. I did Friday night go to a listening party for it, but let me tell you, I walked in, it's 90 degrees in the store. It's at this record store. It's 90 degrees. It's so hot. Everyone's sweating. It's very smelly in this room, and the music for the album is like playing on a little tiny record player, and it's so low you cannot hear it. And the guy's like, he's got like disco balls. He had like a disco ball. What is that called? Thing that you hang on the ceiling or like on a Christmas tree. Garland, a disco ball garland. And he goes, the listening party is happening. Form a line and you can buy the album. And so there's just, and he said, if you buy the album, you'll get a free poster and sticker. And he's selling the album for $50. It's a $34 vinyl record, $15 CD, and he's selling it for $50. I
It's because you
left.
get the sticker and the poster, Gary. You get the sticker and the poster. It adds $15 to your price.
Pretty sure he like printed these posters himself and made these stickers himself. I was like, my friend was with me. I was like, girl, we're getting the fuck out of here. Actually, she said that. She was like, let's go. But yeah, we definitely did leave. But the album is fantastic. I wish the listening party had been fun. I recommend the album intensely. It's so good. It's so good.
Okay.
As a big former 1D stan, still a 1D stan, it is actually genuinely a phenomenal album.
I didn't know it had come out yet, so I will have to give it a listen next time I'm in the car. Do you have any more pop culture? Anything else you wanna talk about?
No, I mean, like, I didn't watch
Okay.
a lot this week. Like, TV wise or movie wise, didn't really watch a lot. I did start Downton Abbey, the movie. It's really good so far, but I can only watch it in like 20-minute increments because, and I didn't anticipate this, it's one of the last things that Maggie Smith did before she passed away.
Yeah.
And literally every time she comes on screen, like my throat tightens, and I'm like, nope, and I turn it off. So it's taken me 4 days to get through the film, and I'm still not done. But it's really good. That's it. What about you? What pop culture things do you have?
Well, hold on. In the same vein as that, I did see recently on TikTok there was a post of Harrison Ford, and it was like when this happens, or whatever, and it was like a compilation of like him and like how people would be really, really sad, and I was like, I've not had anyone's death affect me, but that man's death will affect me in a way that is ridiculous and out of this world.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I
like
agree.
like for listeners, y'all, like Indiana Jones, Han Solo, Air Force One. Those are some of my favorite films of all time. I genuinely like Harrison Ford and everything that he's in. And like the way that I can quote all the Indiana Jones films, all the Star Wars films, like it's crazy. And his death will affect me in a way that is crazily crazy. But so I feel you on the Maggie Smith thing, because if when that happens, it will be hard for me to watch like my comfort films and stuff like that. Because like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is one of my comfort films. I think I've seen that movie probably more than any other film I think I've ever seen ever. I also just love Sean Connery too, so that was just like a double whammy for me. But to my pop culture stuff, let's see. I started The Beauty on Hulu. It's an FX show, but they also have that comic book by Ignition Press. Have you seen? I think Briar talked about it the other day on TikTok.
Yeah, the
Where,
condom.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like it's basically a show about where like an STD that you get makes you beautiful. Like it like completely changes you. But then
Hmm.
like the problem is that like after a while it overheats you and you explode. So you're basically following two FBI agents who are you're following two FBI agents who are Evan Peters and I don't know the woman's name, but she's also very pretty. But you follow them and they're trying to figure out like why these people are spontaneously combusting, and you find out that like it's due to like this new like virus, but they don't know quite yet that it's a sexual they don't know that it's an STD. They just know that it's a virus, and they don't know how it's spread. They just know it's not spread via airborne. It's spread by secretions. Actually, so they do know it's an STD. Anyway, I'm only 2 episodes into it. Something major happens to one of the police officers during the second episode, so I'm excited to kind of see where it goes from there. But it has Ashton Kutcher in it, which is interesting. I haven't seen him in a lot of things in a long time, but I'm very interested in it, and I want to watch more of it. I've also started watching Naruto because why not? I've only watched like 2 episodes, so I can't really say that I've started watching it. It's just I put it on when I go to sleep. So that, and then finally for my last plug of the week, I am playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on my PS5. Troy Baker is a genius as a voice actor because he makes me really think that he is Harrison Ford in those moments, and it's fucking crazy. He's so good at being Harrison Ford, it's crazy. But yeah, it's a really fun game. I get lost in it. I didn't realize I played until 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning, whatever. Yeah, it's just really fun. And I'm probably going to plat it. And that is all I have to plug for this week.
I haven't started The Beauty yet because I'm not a huge fan of body horror.
Oh,
How
that's fair.
bad is the body horror in it?
It's pretty bad. There are times that I have to like put my hand in front of the screen so like I can't see
Period.
what's going on. So I'm also not a big fan of body horror, but it's not surprising. Like you know what's going to happen, so like if you want to like block it or whatever, you can. But yes, body horror is a pretty big thing in it. That's for sure.
I also just have like such a complicated relationship with Ryan Murphy Productions because like he so many times Hickman's it. He'll start a season of a show like really great and then it just goes nowhere. But I know that this time there's actual source material. Like the comic is the source material, right? Like they
I
know where
don't
the
know
comic's gonna
actually.
go.
I can't speak to that because I know that it's like a 10 or 12 issue series, but there's only 5 issues out right now of the book. So like I don't know
Mhm.
if if the show started before the book or if the book I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. If anyone's reading it from Ignition Press or if Ignition Press wants to tell us, if you managed to be listening to our episode, if you want to tell us who had the story first, please let me know because I really want to know.
I might try it. I might try it out. I looked up the cast when you were talking about it, and I saw that Rebecca Hall is in it, and I really like Rebecca Hall, so I might
Who
give it
is
a
that?
try.
Who
I think Jordan Bennett is her name. I think she's one of the detectives.
Yes. That's the one that I was talking about. Who I couldn't remember her name, but I was like, she's also hot. I couldn't remember her name, but yes,
Yeah.
that one.
She's been in a couple of like British horror films that I really loved, and I was like, yeah, okay. I might have a shot.
She's in Iron Man 3, and I didn't clock that until just this moment. Okay, sorry.
She is, yeah. The way that I should have just said that. She is.
I
She has
did
a
not
pretty big
realize
role
that.
in that. Pretty big role in
She
that.
does, and you know what's? I didn't even realize that when I was watching the show. I was like, she has a familiar face. I was like, but I don't know where I know her from. Now I know.
The way that I've only watched that movie one time, though, to be fair.
I loved that movie.
I enjoyed it, but no, I think I've watched it twice because I watched it in theaters and then I watched it when I rewatched all of the MCU movies before in Endgame, which was a task that I will never do again.
That's valid. Some of them are rough.
Kudos to
That's
anyone
for
who
sure.
can do that. Yeah, Thor: The Dark World, get that out of here forever.
I've
And
only seen that
I'll
movie one
stand
time.
on it. Stick with that. Period.
I've seen it once, and I saw it when it came out in theaters, and that's it. There's actually a lot of Marvel movies I've only seen once, actually, in theaters.
There's a lot more that I've only seen once now. Like anything after that rewatch, I've only seen one time. Yeah, anything after Endgame, I've only seen once. Also, we did not talk about our pools, so I think to close out this issue, let's go through our pools for the week.
Okay.
I don't know how many. I'm pulling it up right now. So, in real time, Absolute Batman number 18, Supergirl number 11, probably. Yep, that's it for DC. Wild.
Well, that was it. I was
Okay.
like, holy crap.
No. This is a very exciting week for me because it's actually for Marvel. X-Men United number 1 comes out the day after my birthday. I'm so excited about it. There are 22 variants for this book, you guys.
How many are you getting?
And
How many are you getting?
I don't know. I do not know the number. Yeah, I'm so excited. Emma Frost is finally back, leading a title, and I'm so stoked to see what this book is going to be. Black Cat number 8, Magic and Colossus number 2, Alias Red Band number 1, Storm's Earth's Mightiest Mutants number 2. Yeah, that's it for DC, or that's it for Marvel. And then I don't know if I have any indies this week. Diloaded number 5. Yes, Diloaded number 5 comes out this week, so I will be getting that. But that is it. That is it for me.
Okay.
Very excited about X-Men United. Wildly. Early reviews are saying that E. Viewing, the writer of it, is a breath of fresh air for X-Men books right now. And I was like, hey, that's a great review. So I'm excited to see if that is the truth.
Okay. I honestly, I can't wait for you to tell me about it on Wednesday because that's probably the first book that you're going to read and the first book that you'll tell me about. So I'm excited to hear about it.
Yep. Absolutely the truth.
Okay. So my pulls this week, I also have Absolute Batman number 18. I have Bleeding Hearts number 2 by Dennis Camp. And then Sirens Love Hurts number 2. I really liked the first one, actually, a lot more than other people did. It was just fun, and I like the art style. I have one pull for Marvel this week, which is Planet of the Apes versus the Fantastic Four number 2. And then I have 2 indies this week. I have Die Loaded number 5 and The Orc number 2. So that's all I got this week. Next week is going to be rough.
Oh my God, the way that I haven't even looked. The way that I haven't even looked at next week. Let me see. What do I got? One. Wait. Oh, I'm stupid. Never mind. Hold on. 1, 2. I have 8 Marvel next week. 8 Marvel.
8 Marvel? That's just Marvel. 8?
Yeah, and I'm gagged over that, okay? I'm gagged. And then DC. New Titans comes out next week.
It does. Yep. And Batwoman.
And Batwoman! I have 2 next week for DC, so yeah. Oh, that's so exciting.
Mm,
And then I'm
no.
assuming we're going to get Exquisite Corpses? No. Okay.
Yeah, that comes out next week.
It does? Oh, it's not showing it on Comic Geeks for me. It shows the variant, but not the actual issue. That's weird.
That is weird.
Anyway, I'm excited. I'm excited about this week. I'm excited about next week now that I know that New Titans is coming out and Batwoman. Greg Rucka, I've missed you so much. Can't wait to see what you do.
It took me a second. It took me a second. I was like, Greg Rucka? Like, what do you mean? You don't read a lot of Greg Rucka. And I was like, oh.
There is substantial evidence that I have read a lot of Greg Rucka. Okay? On the internet forever. But again, like going back to Extreme X-Men before we go, right now I'm going to put the book as a whole at a 5 out of 10, which does hurt my spirit a lot as an X-Men fanatic and lover. This was one of the worst X-Men books I've read. The last few issues bumped it up for me, but I need her to put in some work. I need some tables to turn, as the Jonas Brothers would say. I need some tables to turn. Okay, but I'm at 5 out of 10.
You have it higher than I do. This is a rough one.
I knew I would. I knew I would.
You're giving it the Gare Grace tax because it's an X-Men title, which to be fair,
I think without that arc, without the second arc or the third arc, whatever it was, it would have been like a 3 for me. But that bumped it up, and I think they bumped it up for me because while it was rushed, I have read so much Sebastian Shaw and I've read so much Lady Mastermind that it gelled for me more than it would someone who hasn't read a lot of them. I think because I was like, oh, I have all the history, so that's why. So it is kind of a Gare Grace tax, just simply because I've read so much of them. But yeah, like someone who hasn't read a lot, yeah, it's rushed. I see it.
For me right now, honestly, maybe like a 3.5 to a 4 out of 10.
I'll accept that.
It's not great. I did, like I said multiple times throughout recording right now, is that I did like 5 through 9. I thought 5 through 9 was really good. I felt it was rushed, but I felt it was better than what we were given before. Savage Land really tanked it, dude. Savage Land was atrocious. And then the 4, where it just seemed like he was hating on everything, it just kind of it didn't help matters. So right now I'm gonna keep it maybe. I'm going to say 3.75. That's where I am right now.
Period.
So
my guess was a 2.
Your guess was a 2?
Yeah. That's I was
fair.
like, she's going to give it a 2.
Fair. No, I'm going to give it a little bit higher just because I can see maybe the vision of where it might be going, so I want to give it like a little bit higher of something. But Rogue is really, really also just killing my vibe. She's killing it. She's killing the vibe. Like I said, hopefully these next issues that we read for next week will bring it up. I don't see it getting anywhere near as high as Gotham Central. I just don't see.
No.
I don't know if Claremont can put together that many good issues in a row right now. That's bad.
Also, how old is he at this point in his life writing it?
Let's see. Hold on.
I don't know. Not that really has anything to do with it, but God, he's probably tired.
It does. He's probably.
He's been working for so long.
2001. He's only 51.
Yeah, okay. Then never mind.
Shit, he was 30 writing peak X-Men? That's crazy. I've also only seen older pictures of him, so I don't know what he looked like when he was young.
Yeah, I don't think I know what he looks like. Was he hot?
He had hair. I wouldn't.
Wow.
Hot is a stretch. No, hot is a stretch. He could be. He's an attractive looking man, but hot is a stretch. Here, let me find. I'll just show you real fast. Young Chris. So like this
what
is
were
the
you
picture
saying?
that I found. Oh, I was just saying hot as a stretch. This is the picture that I found. It's kind of blurry. Focus, you bitch. There we go. So like he's attractive, but I would say hot as a stretch.
And I would.
Now this one is a different story. Like that I could get behind, right? Like that's decent.
Hey, you said that I could get behind. Did you even see the bit that I did?
No.
Listen, I was like, is he hot? And you said, well, he has hair. And I went, wow. And I took my headset off and I left.
Did you say wow? And then like I was too busy looking at the picture still talking about it. I didn't even realize you laughed.
Well, someone's going to laugh at that.
Honestly, I thought you had just gone like this again.
I did, but it was for the comedy. I'm flipping my hair right now. Well, I guess all I really have to say is same time next week.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Bye, dude.